All right. Hey, hey. All right, Scorpios, back by request. Wait, I'm sorry, Ophiuchus. This is Ophiuchus. Scorpio is next. My apologies. Ophiuchus, I'm so sorry. I was almost going to do Scorpio first, and I thought, wait, no. I think I had seen a request for Ophiuchus first in the order of things, and then Scorpio will be right after this. So forgive me. Ophiuchus, here we go. Where is Ophiuchus headed? Which direction are they sailing? I'm taking for granted that I would assume our character is, master of this ship, and they have left one port and are sailing and navigating their way forward to wherever it is that they want to go. We have Ophiuchus making a choice on this card. Um, Card 30, they could be very much like heading for a decision like on the 30th. Let me get one more out of this deck. Moonlight, they're keeping this to themselves. And you notice that today is only the 18th. How many days does July have? Do we have 31 days in July or 30? But we have a little bit of time before Ophiuchus gets to that junction of like, am I going right or left? They're not really saying anything to anyone about this upcoming choice. They are instead, allowing themselves to just think about things, feel things, sense things, listen to their own subconscious. And they're kind of maybe even taking a few days to themselves, just a little bit. Ms. Hermit, great to see you. They might be taking a little bit of time for themselves and withdrawing just a smidge, just so that they can think about things before like decision day comes. Ooh, we've got a King of Swords in the reverse, and we have the Five of Swords upright. I'm just going to say it the way I see it. If there's a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius that became very sour, very selfish, very unfair with Ophiuchus, they're losing Ophiuchus. There is a big old blockage here, and it doesn't look like they're going to be changing their behavior. And this could be what Ophiuchus is really deep down there thinking. I'm trying to give this person a little bit of time to soften that energy, to not be so hard headed, to not be so my way or the highway about it. But if they're not going to change, then this silence is going to persist, and I'm going to go a different route. They're going to push me to go down a different road, because how do you collaborate or even connect or talk to someone who's gone into silent mode? Both of these cards say silent mode, and they don't want to change. I feel like this King of Swords is going to lose Ophiuchus, even though Ophiuchus is very much attempting to give them a little bit of time. Hi, Melissa. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping by. The Four of Swords upright, the Five of Cups, and the Magician. Whew. They're definitely weighing the pros and cons right now, is what I would say. And we have these open hands both times. And I almost feel like the question that Ophiuchus is putting to themselves right now is, okay, let me weigh this. What, like, does somebody really want to heal things? And at this point, if I'm trying to heal things with someone, what does that do for my life? Is it worth it? Or am I still the one who's being made kind of miserable? Because honestly, maybe instead of holding a bunch of emptiness in my hands where I have to keep struggling to try to make peace with somebody who clearly is not interested in that, maybe that's why it keeps breaking my heart. And maybe it would be better if I instead take my future into my own hands and say, I can't chase somebody around who wants to do the silent game. I can't do it. And me being gracious enough to give them space to maybe stop being that way, stop being, this feels like somebody who's in a snit, they're in a bad mood, and they want to give ghosting and silent treatment as punishment. They feel like they win when they punish Ophiuchus with silence. The thing is, they're going to win a whole lot of emptiness. Oh God, there's a song by Tanya Donnelly, and I can't think of the title of it. But it's really pretty, and it's something about like something in her hand, white in her hand. I can't remember what it is, but the melody is coming in and out of my head. This, I like the fact that Ophiuchus is weighing. This is the two different roads, right? One road leads them down. Do I try to go talk to this person who's enjoying blocking me and being silent? Or do I really look at it and say, I need to heal the fact that maybe it hurts to think that they don't want to talk to me and they're not going to quit being in their snit. But on the other hand, couldn't I spend my time more wisely collaborating with somebody who wants to share their energy with me? Couldn't I have a happier life and have a lot less grief and hurt if I go ahead and take my own future into my hands and I start to manifest something different? Because why stay where there's hurt and pain and silence? If this person thinks that they're going to win, well, apparently they think that the way to what they want to win is losing their Ophiuchus. I don't think that's what they're wanting, but I think they haven't considered what that game gets them. Tell me, does the King of Swords, why are they acting like this? Why are they doing this? Four of Cups, King of Swords, Death and Rebirth. Oh my God. This is tough because not even they know why they're doing this. Not really. They're disappointed. They're upset. But they also have a really odd view of themselves. They think that this behavior is the way to make things happen. They don't see their actions as petulant or rude or silencing to win or painful. They think, well, I'm hurt, and this is how I display my pain. It's like the cat who gets mad that you're gone too long and they go vomit on your blanket. I'm sorry to put it in that context, but that's what it makes me think of. One of my sisters had a small wiener dog, and she had these glass grapes that were on her table, and the wiener dog would jump up and pee on those when he was displeased with something she had done. And it was like, why of all things? Why the center point of the table? Because it was a great way to display their displeasure, right? Animals don't have words, but they sure do have body language. This character, I don't mean that they're behaving in an animalistic fashion, but they use this method to display their unhappiness, but in their mind, it's like, well, of course I'm doing that. That's what I do when I'm unhappy. I want things to change. But where's the communication? Where's the collaboration? They think I've shown my displeasure now. Chop, chop, everybody fix the things I don't like. I don't think it works that way. But I think they think it could work that way. Hold on. One more on that death card. Scorpio energy there. Three of Pentacles, Page of Swords. So they think that this is a method to get collaboration, which is so odd because it's like they're giving silent treatment. And I can only go off the cards that we see here, right? So I know that this is seeming very contradicting and backwards, but this is, we're kind of diving into the head of this fictional character right now. They think that giving the silent treatment is their way to display their displeasure. And what they want is for the thing that makes them unhappy to go away, which means they want somebody to collaborate with them in their way, their level. It's not true collaboration that they want. It's that I want you to do it the way I want you to do it. Then I'll be happy. See, we're working together. No, because true collaboration is where there's got to be equal give and take. Everybody has to sit down, come to the table, and agree on things. Instead, they use this coercion tactic where I won't talk to you until you do it my way. And then I'll say, see, isn't it great when we collaborate? No. And what's crazy is right now, they're either spying and watching me okay, are they about ready to come back to me now and do it my way? And then I can say, see how nice it is when we collaborate? No, that's not what's happening. Instead, it's quite the reverse. Ophiuchus is on the cusp of saying, well, I'm going to heal from the fact that although this was sad, I realize I don't want to collaborate their way. They don't want to collaborate my way. So I think it's time that I manifest something different. I don't know that they realize that's the direction this is starting to turn. Now, Ophiuchus hasn't formally made this ultimate decision, but they're definitely leaning heavily toward it. You know, let's go to the universe, but what I was going to say is maybe it's possible that these two just aren't a good fit. Just because we like someone, we're attracted to them, or even like, sometimes you think it's going to be the dream team. Like, I'll use a sports analogy for this. Sometimes you can get together the best athletes in the world, um, and they suck as a team, like the greatest basketball players, and you put them all on the same team. And sometimes you get the dream team, and other times you've got like everybody's a star and they don't quite have the personality types where they can really work together. And you're like, wow, so much talent, and they really are not doing that well. It feels kind of like that. We may have two very headstrong individuals. And maybe they're always going to clash because maybe they're not meant to collaborate. Maybe Ophiuchus should shine on their own and this other person should do things their way and shine in their King of Swords way. The universe weighs in and says, time for some Empress energy. The Empress energy is, first off, it's Libra Taurus, but it's about thinking, what do we want the future to look like? Now it's not about who's being nicer, who's being rude, who's using the cat tactic of vomiting on somebody's shoes to show their displeasure. It's not that anymore. The universe says, don't worry about who's doing what. Instead, think about what do you want the future to look like. The Empress is all about growth. So if the guiding principle here is, look, what I want is to grow. What I want is an awesome future. Then what's the most expedient route to get there? Do I keep dealing with this person? Do they keep dealing with me? Do we slow each other down? Can we not come to a meeting of the minds? In that case, maybe it's time to let each other go. We have the Queen of Cups. You notice that there's this trepidation, right? She pulls back her cup. She looks kind of nervous, but she's upright. It kind of feels like, I don't know if these two can't work together, but I think right now they can't. There is love here. And there's also like, I love you, but, oh, Phil Collins, I love you, but I just can't take this. I love you, but I'm playing for the keeps. There's something here where I think the ego is too big, even though the love is also very big. We have a 10 of Wands. I don't want to, God, I'm painting this person in such a negative light, and I don't want to do that. Because look, in other circumstances, what they bring to the table is amazing. This King of Swords, they have amazing ideas. They're accomplished, they're skilled, they have their own idea of how the world works, and they may have become pretty powerful and pretty headstrong because they had to. So let's not, take away this person's, good attributes. But in one instance, their maybe steel will and determination, which could be a product of childhood. Maybe they were determined to make something different from childhood. This is laying down burdens, fear, guilt, shame, remorse, a lot of things that sometimes we can learn in childhood. Now, this looks like a very loving mother with her children, but there could still be like patterns learned in childhood that they have struggled to overcome, and they've done it. But the person they've turned themselves into could sometimes be a little too steely, a little too insistent. Now, that might be their survival tactic, or that might be part of their beauty and what they've turned themselves into. Sometimes people get tempered into steel because it's been a hard life, and they can be tough to deal with because they don't bend, but they're not villains. Is this person kind of acting like a villain? A little bit, but we got to look at them with more realistic eyes. San Juanita, thank you. You sweetheart. Thank you so much. Sweet dreams. I think if anything, maybe this is a great opportunity for both of them to at least step back from trying to collaborate on this topic or at this point in time. Let's say they were lovers that, they could still be together as lovers, but let's say they cannot work together. They were going to, one or the other was going to help out in the other one's business. And it's like, oh my God, literally, I cannot work with you or for you. You're terrible to work for or with because you don't collaborate. So I love you, but let's save our relationship and let's not collaborate together and work. Or maybe this was supposed to be a relationship, a romance, and it's like, not at this point in time. We cannot be together. I'm going to have to go my own separate way because this isn't working. Not until some other like walls have dropped down, some of that steely energy has softened a little bit, is what I think. So I really think that Ophiuchus has been thinking long and hard about, the way they are. They're not a villain, and I do love them, but I'm afraid to give too much more of my heart here. We're downgrading a relationship to the status of maybe friendship instead of trying to do romance, or maybe friends instead of trying to be work colleagues, or work for one or the other. It doesn't. It's not going to fly. Not right now. We need to backpedal and then preserve whatever the relationship is at a much smaller degree. What's going to happen? What's the message? We'll say just for that King of Swords. What is the message just for them? Ten of Cups. It's time that they start thinking about happiness. If what they really want is happiness, then do they really need to be right all the time? Do they need to have it down to the minutia, their way or the highway? Do they need to give silent treatment to get the tiniest details exactly the way they envision it in their mind? Or could they consider happiness is I feel like this person holds on to the reins way too tightly. They could be like a micromanager or something. And if they could relax that, wouldn't they also be happier? Maybe yes, maybe no, but the universe asks them, think about what is happiness for you. Is it to have a partner that is doing every little detail of how you said you wanted things done? Or they have to, acquiesce to your every whim? Is that really all that makes you happy, is when people do what you said? Or does happiness matter to have love, to share a life with somebody that you care about? Because if this is what's at stake, they really need to look at their behavior and the fact that they might be driving Ophiuchus away. And it's not worth it. Especially it's not worth it over these little minute details that, maybe they're like, I like the blue curtains closed every Tuesday at 2:15. And they get into a snit if the curtains aren't closed at 2:15. It could be really tiny details, but they have to have it their way because their way is the best way. And even if they have a logical reason, still, is that enough to upend potential happiness for? They need to start looking at the big picture in life and maybe not micromanaging. I think they have a tendency to do that, again, maybe because of whatever that the image of like the childhood stuff comes to mind again. And for Ophiuchus, the message is Tower in the reverse. Not everything has to be, oh my God, it's over, I can never talk to them again. And it kind of looked like Ophiuchus was looking at this as it's one or the other. It has to be one or the other. And the universe is like, well, again, maybe it's not yes or no. Maybe it's we'll see in the future. Maybe it's postpone making the total endings. Maybe Ophiuchus can start manifesting beautiful things in their own life and not have to be in the midst of like conflict, and also not necessarily have to say, that's it, I can never speak to them again. I have to go a different direction. Because we saw love here. And it just kind of feels like these two can still work through things, but at a later date. This doesn't seem completely over. It seems like it needs to go on hiatus right now. We don't have villains in this story, even though I know I've described them in some difficult ways. But I actually kind of have a soft spot for these characters. I don't think anybody is mean or anything like that. I just think that there's, certainly for that King of Swords, there's some energy in them that needs to soften, and they can't see that just yet. But I think in time, there could be a whole different outcome for these two. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Sherry Marshall, hey, darling. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for popping in. Rach, awesome to see you again tonight. Shirley, it is very much my pleasure. Your cat gets your windshield. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you again, San Juanita. So kind, so generous. I appreciate you so much. All right, you guys, take care. Scorpio's up next. All right, bye for right now.